This is Inside Badger Football with head coach Trey Shucker. Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bancorp, Southwest Sporting Goods, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plowman, Taylor King Law, Pricing Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles, Thompson, and Kneebone, Certified Public Accountants, Clark County Farm Bureau, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto Collection, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Arkadelphia Tire and Outfitters, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Bats and Signs, Sonic of Arkadelphia, Dairy Queen, Pediatrics Plus, Rise Counseling, and Print Mania. The host of Inside Badger Football is Chase Hartzell.
Hello and welcome to another playoff edition of Inside Badger Football with Trey Shucker. I'm Chase Hartzell, joined as always by Arkadelphia head coach Trey Shucker. Coach Shucker, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me today. It's always good to be here if we're doing this late in the year.
Absolutely, and we start out with 32 teams in the playoffs, dwindled down to 16 heading into last week's matchup, but with the win over Ozark, Arkadelphia's in that group of last eight teams that are going to be trying to advance to the semifinals and eventually the ultimate goal, the state championship in Little Rock.
Yeah, and we're just taking it 1 week at a time. I thought we had a really, really good week of practice last week. I thought it was one of our better weeks of practice. Our guys were really locked in, had really good energy throughout the week, really got after it, and we were very, very prepared for Friday. Hope to do that moving forward, but really, really good week overall, and it ultimately came to a really good conclusion and outcome with the game.
And in this one, Arkadelphia got to play Ozark. Now, the Hillbillies are a team that have quite a bit of tradition in their own right. You usually see their names associated with 4A state playoffs. You always see them in there. And there were several times in the past where Arkadelphia could have matched up with them, but it just didn't work out. It did this year. So what was that like getting to play a program like that?
It was awesome. Ozark, very, very good football team. Coach Burns, the head coach over there, does a great job with their program. Much respect for him and the program. They're, just like you said, they're well known in the playoffs. They make the playoffs and put a good run together pretty often. And just for some reason haven't been able to match up with them. First meeting of the schools, and it was a really good matchup. It was an exciting game.
And in this game, one of the keys going in was going to be the defense, because Ozark, going into the game, averaging over 40 points a game. They'd reached up into the 50s a handful of times, also up to 60 points a couple of times throughout the season. But the defense for Arkadelphia, that was one of the stories coming in as well, averaging just over 14 points allowed per game, including the playoffs and all of play. And they only allowed 10 points per game to conference opponents. So what was the key for this defense going into this matchup? Because ultimately they did prevail.
Yeah, we knew that going into the game, Ozark's known for their offense. They've got big offensive linemen. They have a very, very skilled quarterback, running back duo. We knew that we had to be very consistent and very disciplined with our reads and reaction, and we just had to get aligned up really, really quickly and correctly. And we did that. Our defensive staff did a great job of the scheme. Coach Kaiser, Chandler, Evans did a great job of the scheme, and our players did a great job of taking the scheme and applying it to Friday and actually doing it. And, we knew that they were going to be physical. That was one thing that they lean on as an offense, is just being physical. They've broken a lot of tackles. We watch the film, they're running through people's tackles and all that. And so we take pride in being a physical defense. We take pride in having good pursuit and tackling, and we did that Friday. You just saw the stats on the screen. There's a lot of different people with a high number of tackles, and that's something that we take pride on.
And there's the old adage, defense wins championships. That's certainly the case, but your offense also having to step up, and that's exactly what Arkadelphia did on Friday night. Ozark, not necessarily known for having one of the more powerful defensive lines in the state, but really one of those underrated units that people who are invested in the game deeply, you'll start to hear murmurs about that, but then you see them in play and you realize we truly are facing one of the best units around. What was that matchup like, especially in the trenches, because the Arkadelphia offensive line, again, stepping up to the challenge in the postseason?
No doubt. Our offensive line has done a great job of progressing throughout the season and really have handled the line of scrimmage for the greater half of the season. A lot of guys on the front line have not gotten a lot of playing time before this season. And so very, very big testament to them, as well as Coach Brian Gibson, our offensive line coach, in developing those guys and taking it day by day, week by week, and getting better every week. And so it allows our skill players to do what they do. And we've got, a lot of really good talent at the skill positions. You look at the stats, a lot of different people are able to touch the ball. And one thing that we want to play with tempo, we want to execute, of course, but we want to be balanced. We want to not be one-dimensional. So we try to have as even rushes and passes throughout the game, and we're able to do that with the type of players that we've got. So a lot of different people touch the ball. We can win a lot of different ways. We can move the ball a lot of different ways, and we try to be dynamic in that aspect.
Balanced attack on offense, staunch defense on the other side of the ball, and both of those were crucial in this week's success. And we're going to take a look at some of the highlights now from the game. These were the highlights of the round 2 matchup against the Ozark Hillbillies.
Getting the ball to start the game, we were excited about being able to set the tone offensively. We've done a really good job of that here the past few games, of setting the tone and really doing a good job of executing and getting a score that first drive. And we were excited about it. Had really good opportunities, just didn't execute the plays that we needed to and get the completions to keep moving the drive. But that's all right. We knew that just going into it, it's a hyped up game. Everybody's just really excited. That plays into it. So, we didn't get our head down. We just knew, hey, we're going to have another opportunity. Defense is going to go out and get us the ball back. And so our defense did. Our defense strong, played physical. You see it, right here, just a bad angle. But overall, throughout the game, I thought our defense played very, very physical. Our defensive line was getting after it. For the most part, we were lined up. You see big hits here and there, especially early. That was a big hit right there by Katie Young and Max Wilson. And that's one thing that we take pride on. I know I've said it. We want to be a physical tackling football team. Big hit right there by Katie Young. It really sets the tone for the rest of the game. And we get the ball back. Our punt coverage unit right there, our punt block unit disrupted the punt, and he ends up, not getting his whole leg into it, and allows us to have better field position than what we possibly could have. And our offense is back to the races. Like I said, we didn't hang our head after that first drive. We come back and we execute a few plays and score quickly. And so we just pick up right from where we left off, and where we wanted to start the game is almost like we restarted. And so setting the tone from the rest of the game right after that, our defense did a great job of doing that. And that's one thing our defense has done all season, is set the tone. And when our offense has been a little bit slower, our defense has done a great job of resetting the tone and getting the ball right back to us and giving us opportunities.
So the score now is 7-0. That was a touchdown pass from Donovan Witten to Carter Babb, PAT by Brock Curry. And now it's the defense's turn to get back out on the field. And again, Ozark, one of the most well-known ground attacks in the state of Arkansas, but really doing a great job of containing up the middle and even to the edges here early on.
Really have, and we knew that Ozark was very potent offensively, that they were known for breaking off big runs. Massengill, the running back, is a really, really good player. He's going to be able to play at the next level, and we knew that we had to be very disciplined and match the physicality when it comes to stopping the run.
And Massengill, such a crucial part of their run game, really his best run play we've already seen in these highlights. It was that first run they had over to the left side, but he had a lot of trouble after that, nearing just about 30 yards on the game total.
Well, I thought we did a really good job of playing consistent throughout the game. It's not one of those things when you play a good offense like Ozark, we have to be consistent, play by play, and then drive by drive. We can't have a really good drive and get them off the field, and then the next drive go out there a little bit lax. We've got to keep pouring it on and keep playing physical football. Right here, offense executed, gets the ball close, and then we got into our heavier package and then had a play action pass off of it. So, we haven't done that up to this point. Our heavier package has been able to score. They matched our heavy package with heavier defensive linemen and heavier linebackers, and we're able to match the personnel, and so we were able to do something else to get away from it all. And then, here's their running back, we knew he was explosive, and he's shown that all season. He's been explosive for him, and a player like him of his caliber, we've got to have good rush angles, and we've got to be able to tackle and get bodies to him. And if you don't, that's what he'll do to you, and he did.
And that was notable too, because that's the first time that Arkadelphia's allowed to score on special teams all year long. But I think that also speaks as a testament to the strength of that unit, because a lot of the times we see them pin back the opponent within their own 20-yard line.
Yes.
It really stands out as an irregularity.
Yeah, it really was. It was uncharacteristic because our kickoff unit has done a really good job of our cover down. So offense gets the ball back immediately following that return for a touchdown, and we just go back to work. It's one of those things where we see it happen, and offense like, well, let's go right back to work and get on the field. Let's go execute and go put another score on the board. And right here we do. We're able to get the ball out in space to Carter Babb. Really good throw by Donovan. Throw, catch. Up front, executed our sprint out protection very, very well. Gives our quarterback time to get the ball out, and we're just playing fast. Cover down unit, we knew going, the last one didn't go so well. So Coach Chandler does a great job with our special teams. Got our guys on the sideline and fixed and corrected the situation. And they go back out and have a big cover down, pinned them inside the 20 again. And then, our defense, it sets the tone for our defense whenever that happens. Our defense goes out and forces a turnover, huge turnover that we've got to capitalize on, and we do. As you see right here, it's a few plays. We execute really nice throw right here from Donovan to Latonio Hughes. Latonio just using speed to get to the space. I mean, that's really one of his biggest qualities and traits that he can do. He's the fastest player that we've got on our team. Does a great job of finding space in the defense with his route and using his speed to get open. I mean, he's tough to cover across the field. And then, our cover down unit again, pinning them deep right there is huge for our defense. It sets the tone for the drive, and an offense that has to go the full length of the field to score, that's hard. I mean, especially whenever it's a strong run defense or strong run offense. It takes quite a few plays a lot of times, and that's one of the biggest thing is not giving up and not allowing big plays in the run game, and we didn't. And so if they're gonna have to go the whole distance, it's going to take a lot of plays to do it. And so that's one of the biggest things going into this game that we tried to do, and I thought our defense did a great job of it overall.
So after the fourth down conversion, Ozark keeps the drive alive, but again, Badgers defense not backing away, and they made some big stops here on this set of downs.
And we talk about consistency, and that's what it takes. You can't take plays off. You got to be consistently physical, and we were. Got us the ball back. We get the ball to our talented sophomore, Jaquavis Purefoy, and anytime he's touching the ball like that, he's getting big gains, and he does again. He's done it all season on that play and similar plays. But really, really big play for us, and then we're able to get the ball right there to Tripp for a big score. PAT's good. Brock had a really good night, another really good night with his PATs. You go for an onside kick, and we're just there. I mean, fingertip away from potentially getting the ball back. I thought we had it at first, and we didn't come up with it, but really, that's a situation where we've gotten the ball back, and we're able to take advantage of it and go score. And so, didn't get it right there, but really good opportunity, I thought.
Was a great setup from Curry. As you mentioned, he's done a great job of that all season long. But the offense does get the ball back here after a good stop from the defense. And this was one of the few times we talked about the defensive line. You don't see Donovan Witten go down the backfield very often. He does here, but that was another anomaly on the night.
Really was. Our offensive line has done a great job with our pass protection all season and giving him time and picking up those blitzes and different stunts and twists and different things. And that was one of the few plays that we had that, were just a mishap. Miscommunication is really what it was up front. But our offensive line got it sorted out, and we're able to keep moving the ball and driving right there. So this is the 2-minute going in, I believe. We're just running, close to our 2-minute offense. And, very pleased at how we handled it. We ended up scoring. I know it's not shown, but we ended up scoring and got called back. And so we ended up resorting to a field goal, which I thought was huge for us, honestly. Brock, first field goal of the season, true field goal. He's got a lot of PATs made, but hasn't had a field goal. So to be in that situation and to handle it, to make the field goal and get points on a drive is huge. Just getting points on a drive is always big. Of course, we want to score, but Brock being able to handle the situation right there, really big for our unit.
So this is the second half now, as that was the last play of the second quarter. Arkadelphia is up 38-7 at this point. See a beautiful ball downfield there, but great coverage by Arkadelphia.
Yeah, and this is the first drive of the second half. I thought our defense did a really good job the first half of setting the tone and playing physical. And, I thought this drive was one of those drives where we kind of went out a little bit lax. The game was a little bit cold. I think we kind of came out a little bit cold. But Ozark did a great job of trying to fight back, and they executed their offense very, very well. We didn't match their physicality that first drive back from the second half, and we knew that we can't do that.
This time Ozark trying to pull off an onside kick of their own and ends up going backwards.
Yeah.
Gave the offense really good field position.
Really good field position. Anytime you get in field position like this, you've got to take advantage of it, and we do. Our offense is executing at a high level. Big catch right there from Donovan all the way to Tripp. Back shoulder throw, and then what a play. I mean, Tripp Campbell's one of the very few receivers I've seen that can consistently do that, and he's done that he's done that a few times. I mean, big catch right there on the sideline, back shoulder throw. Just a really big play overall, big catch. Shows the type of talent that we've got. I mean, we're able to spread the ball around and make big plays like that.
And Kyle Reed did cap off the drive with a touchdown, so now it's 45-14 Badgers. But again, Ozark was not going down without a fight the entire game.
And they come out and they're trying to be physical and run the ball and set the tone for themselves as well. And our defense, didn't like the way we started the second half, so we come out the second drive and really get back to where we needed to be on the physicality. Got them off the field. So offense gets back on the field, get the ball back to sophomore Jaquatus Purefoy. He's one of those just electric players. He's one of those players that we can get the ball to him in many different ways. We can, he plays slot receiver for us. We can throw him the ball, but we can also hand it to him as well. He's just very dynamic. And Kyle Reed, big run by him. Kyle's one of those guys, sophomore as well, starting running back. Sophomore has had a big season for us. Just overall, very, very pleased with how he's ran the ball. I think after 10 games, he's rushed for around 7 yards a carry. Big testament to the offensive line for allowing him to do that. And then with him being able to finish runs the way that he does, is huge. I think every game he's had a 30-plus yard touchdown. I mean, he's done a great job of being able to score from far out at the running back position.
Does a great job when he gets into space, and really just speaks to the strength of this team at every level. It seems like you see a player from every class contributing in a huge way regularly.
Yeah.
For the offense, you look at the passing in the first half, there were 5 passing touchdowns, all of them thrown by senior Donovan Witten to a senior wide receiver, but then the sophomores get a little bit of a spotlight there in the second half with Kyle Reed getting a couple of scores. D'Angelo Buckley had some good plays throughout the second half, and of course we mentioned Jaquavis Purefoy setting up a lot of those scores as well.
Yeah, and D'Angelo Buckley's another one that rotates in at running back, and he's another one that has improved greatly over the course of this season. He's picked up a couple touchdowns here and there, and he's another one that we can put in there and feel good about. He's one of those guys that we can get out in space and feel good about in some of the pass routes, and then also can hand it to in the run game as well. So he's a very, very dynamic player. But very, very, we've done a really good job at spreading the ball around and being dynamic, not just keying in on 1 or 2 players. and making defenses cover us all. I mean, really is what it comes down to, and we're very fortunate to be able to do that. We've got very good players and weapons at every position, and our offensive line has done a great job at continuing to progress and get better and control the line of scrimmage, and both the pass and the run. And, we feel good about where we're at right now.
A lot of great performances to talk about all around. Here's the final score again in that one. Arkadelphia 52 and Ozark 21. And with so many great performances, Coach, I bet it was hard to choose some Badgers of the week, but you and your team were able to do that here going into this next week.
It always is hard and has been all season. We like it that way, and that's what we explain to our players is, it's hard to pick these players of the week because it can go a lot of different directions. But it means a lot of different people are making plays and doing meaningful things towards the course of the game. But Offensive Player of the Week is senior wide receiver Trip Campbell. Had some huge catches for us, 2 touchdowns, just under 100 yards receiving, and then, just big plays to extend drives and keep us moving down the field, and really has stepped up here the latter half of the season. Defensive Player of the Week is junior linebacker Chase Vanderborg. Chase plays middle linebacker for us and was one of our leading tacklers. I know we showed the stats earlier, but one of our leading tacklers on defense, and had a huge, going into the game, had a huge game plan on his shoulders going up against an offense like Ozark. And he really stepped up and took it on and did a great job with the game plan and was incremental on how our defense stopped their offense. And then special teams, junior DB Nick Williams plays safety for us. We do different things with him. He's probably one of our better tacklers on defense. But in special teams was where he really shined this past week. Our cover down unit was huge for us. We had some really good cover downs, but we also gave up a couple. And then, so what we did, we adjusted using Nick to try to stop that, and he took it on and did a great job. Had big tackles for us in the special teams, and then also a couple of big blocks as well. And then Badger Spirit Award winner this week is Hayden Gibson. Hayden Gibson is a 9th grade football player for us. He helps us out every Friday night and just always does a great job in helping us. If we're on the road, he's helping us get stuff off the trailer and getting stuff picked up off the sideline. If we're at home, he's getting the field, helping us get the field set up, and then afterwards, getting the field picked back up and put together, and always does a great job. Does everything that he's always told to do, and just huge for us in regards of just the operations of game day and so forth.
Another deserving Badger Spirit Award winner, and congratulations to all of this week's winners of the Badgers of the Week. And before we break down next week, we're going to take one last look at the scoreboard from around the conference. And Coach, at this point in the season, law of averages says that there should be just about 1 or 2 teams left from the conference. There are 3 out of the 7-4A still in play. Malvern picking up a huge win over Lamar. Nashville going on the road and shocking Pocahontas in front of the home crowd by 30, although the Scrappers have been putting together a great run here as of recent. And then Elkins, one of the top teams in 4A going into the playoffs, a 1 seed. Ashdown went on the road there and fell short in that one 63-27, but going 3 for 4 at this point in the playoffs is remarkable.
Really shows the strength of our conference, and then Elkins is playing very good football up there, the northwest region. They've done a really great job all season. I think they're a potential very good team to see down the road, as the playoffs shake out. And then, Nashville's playing their best football right now. Nashville's a tough team, and they're proving it. They're proving it every week right now. And then Malvern able to handle business, take care of business just like they've done all season.
Really feeds into that idea that we've talked about, the 4A7 being the SEC West of 4A state football. When you see results like that, people can kind of start to see why you hear that so much around the state of Arkansas. It really is a tough conference, and those games in conference play really prepare you to excel when it comes postseason time.
They really are, and it shows this time of year whenever you see the number of teams from our conference being successful and the games that are played. And then, just when you think about our conference, it's not just a 1 week you see one of those teams. We see each other week in and week out. And so that's really the grind of it, and what makes it the SEC of 4A football is, having to play one of those teams and then turn around and prepare for the next one, and the week in, week grind of it.
And so now looking at next week, you had a couple of matchups that you saw there. Warren, one of the top teams in 4A, hosting Malvern, and then also Nashville will be facing Elkins, who just got off playing another 4A7 opponent in the form of Ashdown. But the game that we're here to break down now is Rivercrest taking on Arkadelphia, and the Colts had a battle with the Bulldogs of Star City last Friday night. We were covering it in the booth as the game was happening. Arkadelphia's game had already wrapped up, and it was really neck and neck to see who was going to get the bid.
Yeah.
But then Rayner went in and scored a touchdown, his 5th of the game, the quarterback for Rivercrest, and the Colts end up picking up the thrilling victory at home with 11 seconds left, 49-42 in that one. Colts have got some momentum coming into this week. What can we expect from this matchup?
Well, it's going to be high power. I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to. They've got a high power offense. We feel like we've got one as well. And it's really going to come down to defensive play, in my opinion. They've got probably one of the best players. You mentioned him, Rayner, probably one of the best players that we'll have seen this season. He's very explosive. He's very dynamic, and they want to get him the football. You know, they're coming off a very, very big win for them. That was a huge win against a very good Star City team. Star City's proven themselves this season. And, you know, Rivercrest doing the same. And Rivercrest, you know, having that big home win against Star City was huge for them. And then, so they're going to be excited to move on and play this week. And I would assume they're excited about getting to come down to Arkadelphia and play us as well. And so they're going to be ready for us. You know, they're very well coached, and they're very explosive.
And you talked about that. This is really a time in the year where you start to see all these tradition programs coming together, because there are a lot of great football programs in 4A. And Rivercrest is a team that Arkadelphia hasn't seen too much of in recent years. But again, they're another storied program. Or they were just in the state championship with a couple of years ago. Arkadelphia also in the state championship in the last 5 years or so. So these are two teams that have competed at the highest level over the past half decade and really going into the last decade or two. So it's going to be fun to see how these two teams collide, because both teams have a lot of prestige and both expect to win, and it's going to be fun to see who comes out on top.
No doubt, and I believe it might be the first meeting of the two schools, but yes, they're very, you know, we're very similar in the fact of the prestige of the program. You know, both places take pride in their school and town spirit and town pride, and you know, they're used to being this deep in the playoffs. They've done a great job. You know, it's nothing new to them. Just like you said, you know, teams around this time of year, you see a lot of the same names a lot of times, and you know, being here often, you know, the expectation comes into play. You know, teams that expect to be here and it's not new to them, a lot of times tend to play better this time of year. And you know, tonight we're playing a team that's used to playing on Thanksgiving, and so it's not new to them. They're going to be excited and ready to play, and it should be a really good matchup, big dog fight.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because really a fun time all around high school football, and you get to see really some of the unique traditions going around Thanksgiving, because you know, a lot of teams, you know, have already ended their season, they're at home with their families, but really you have that Friday night family coming together for a big Thanksgiving celebration. What will Thanksgiving week look like for the Badgers this week?
Well, we're gonna, you know, it's gonna be big practices, of course. You know, our players know. You know, we had a practice today, and they know the situation. They've been here before. They know what it's like to practice on Thanksgiving week and play on you know, the day after Thanksgiving and all that. So we're excited for it. It's nothing new to us. So, you know, it's business as usual, really, when it comes to practice. Get out there, prepare, and be the most prepared team Friday night, and as well as have fun. You know, we keep it fun through practice and do different things, but it's not always just, you know, business, this and that, but we try to keep it fun, and we get the music going and have fun with practice, but we do know that we've got to be prepared.
And it's always great to have that sense of community around it. And speaking of the community, I'm sure there's going to be a great turnout as Arkadelphia gets to host a third straight home game for the playoffs. I'm sure Rivercrest is going to travel well too, but having the Badger faithful there, I'm sure, is a huge help going into that quarterfinal game.
No doubt about it. You know, anytime that we get to play at home in front of our home crowd, we feel good about it. You know, it's just something different whenever you get to play in Badger Stadium and being Thanksgiving. You know, there'll be a lot of families that have, you know, families from other communities in town to visit and things like that, and hopefully come to the game or watch the game, and so hopefully we'll have a lot of support, we'll fill the stadium up, and it'll be a great atmosphere.
I'm sure a lot of families will be gathered together for the weekend. If you're close, we encourage you to come out to the game. Of course, though, we know that a lot of people will be on the road. I wouldn't be surprised, though, to see another sellout crowd at Badger Stadium, though, on the holiday. It's going to be a fun atmosphere, but if you can't make it to that game, we encourage you to watch it on ArkadelphiaBadgerTV.com. As always, that game will be kicking off at 7 p.m. Rivercrest Colts are coming to town. And, Coach, that's going to do it, at least until what we hopefully will be the semifinal edition of Inside Badger Football. We thank you for joining us as always.
All right, thank you for having me. Go Badgers.
Go Badgers.
Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bancorp, Southwest Sporting Goods, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Pricing Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles, Thompson, and Kneebone, Certified Public Accountants, Clark County Farm Bureau, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto Collection, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Arkadelphia Tire and Outfitters, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Bats and Signs, Sonic of Arkadelphia, Dairy Queen, Pediatrics Plus, Rise Counseling, and Print Mania. Inside Badger Football is produced weekly by the Ouachita Baptist University, Rogers Department of Communications, and the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.